Let's go. So here we go. Here's the Wall Street Journal commenting on the story, of course, last night. Biden drops this bomb. I had the show already done and ready to rock and roll. And I see breaking news. I'm watching this special about Wyatt Earp and the Cowboy Wars. And my phone starts blowing up. Dude, he did it. I just want to say self-praise stinks. But in this case, I don't really care because what did we say? Did we not say, my headlight too high or something? Oh, okay. Did I not say, Justin, that Joe Biden was going to pardon his son? Yes, I did is the answer. I told you multiple times. There is zippo chance this guy was leaving office without pardoning his kid. Do you guys remember why I said it, however? This was definitely a Stygian witch's moment. Because he says, Dad, no. What do you mean, Dad? He's not the loving father. And you guys remember the reason? Come on, let's see how good you are. You're part of the team. You don't remember, do you? Shameful. And you're in college, too. Your brain should be working at peak efficiency. I'm 50 years old. My gray matter is melting away by the second. Dude, you're like 17. Get it together. You should remember this. You. Of course, I look at you. Actually, I'm looking in the wrong direction because I'm looking at the screen looking at you. But the screen's looking at you because everything's backwards. The screen is looking at Justin. The reason he pardoned his kid is not because he's a good dad. A good dad doesn't let a drug-abusing, crack-using son go conduct international business when you're the freaking vice president of the United States. Dipshits on the left. I'm a dad. I've got kids. Can you imagine having a kid with a drug problem going, I've got an idea. I'm the vice president and I need, yes. Dark mode, freaking D-bots is on, okay? Because a good dad does not send crack-addicted young man to go overseas and fleece money from a bunch of countries which you, ironically, have been put in charge of by the President of the United States at the time, who happened to be Barack Obama. He pardoned his son because he knew his son was getting ready to do this. What are you going to tell me right now, Guy? Describe for the Spotify people at home at Apple what you were talking about. I'm flipping the middle finger because that's what Joe Biden was about to get from his kid. No. Yes. What's that? Yes, thank you. I can read Guy's mind. I know what Guy's going to say. Guy is always, Guy has this audio. I love our audio-only audience. Guy is like super loyal to them. Explain. Here, there are two middle fingers up, and they're both mine. That's what Hunter Biden was about to do to Pop Dukes. Folks, I've always been honest about my sources. Yes, Justin, the big guy was about to get the big woohoo right up the caboose-a-rooski, okay? I've always been honest about my sources. Have I not? Here's unself-praise, okay? I didn't have the best sources in the Kamala Harris team. I didn't. I got damn good ones on the Biden team. Oh, trust your boy D-Bots. I've been saying this forever. Hunter Biden's lawyer has been quietly threatening Dad the entire time. You give us a pardon or we're about to lay waste to you in a book, in testimony, whatever we got to do. And I'll bet they went down to vacation time over Thanksgiving, and here was the Thanksgiving table. Hey, Dad. Hey, son, do you have any crack? I don't have any crack here, but there may be some cocaine in the White House. We might ask the Secret Service for that sample back. Oh, my gosh. You know, this might come up, by the way, Dad, if I write a book about drugs in Ukraine and stuff like that, and you know you were the vice president. And here's Dad. Oh, shit. Maybe we should do something about that. That was the conversation on Thanksgiving. No one was giving thanks, but there was a lot of giving. Giving this, the double-barreled, right up the caboose. This guy was screwed. It's true. This guy was screwed. There was a proctology exam coming for this guy. This dude was screwed. Joe Biden is in a lurch because the kid had nothing left to lose. The trial was over. He was getting ready to get sentenced. Was he going to get jail time? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe a week, maybe a day, maybe nothing. He did not want to be, Hunter Biden that is, a convicted felon. He's like, get to the elements. No, I'm telling you, Joe Biden was screwed. They were afraid of Biden getting roped in on a FARA charge. How many times I got to say this? Foreign Agent Registration Act. It is against the law to lobby on behalf of a foreign government in violation of U.S. law, i.e. taking bribes and trading in national security information. Here's what happened, folks. Forget everything you've heard in the past. I've written books on this sucker. I have zero doubt in my mind based on the evidence that, in my humble opinion, Joe Biden was giving his son classified information on the countries in his portfolio as vice president, which the family was using to then get money as a consultant on those on foreign deals so that they had inside info from the vice president. I've seen the evidence. It's going to be hard to convince me otherwise. And Joe Biden had almost as much, if not more, liability than Hunter. Folks, of course they lied about it. That's all the Bidens do. The family's garbage. They're just garbage people. And by the way, you think Hunter Biden, I'm telling you right now, isn't even the most messed up one in that family. Wait till this. The next Secret Service director, I'm just telling you now, whoever it is, I'm going to be pushing you on this cocaine thing because you guys know who, you've narrowed it down. You know who it is. And you think Hunter Biden's, he ain't even the worst one in this crew. This family is gross. They are nasty. Here's Karine Jean-Pierre lying over and over and over because that's all they do. The worst freaking press secretary in the history of the United States. She should only be remembered for this montage. I think this is Maze Moore. If it's not, we love Maze Moore, Mazemoore. Follow him on X. That account is really awesome for video. Here's Karine Jean-Pierre. This should be the only thing she's ever remembered for. Check this out.
From a presidential perspective, is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No.
The president would not pardon or commute sentences for his son, Hunter. I just want to make sure that that is not going to change over the next 6 months. The president's saying he would not.
It's still a no. It's still a no.
It will always be a no.
It's still a no. It will be a no. It is a no, and I don't have anything else to add. Will he pardon his son? No.
His son, Hunter, is also up for being sentenced next month. Does the president have any intention of pardoning him?
We've been asked that question multiple times. Our answer stands, which is no.
President Biden says that he's not going to pardon his son, Hunter. Is he going to ask Donald Trump to do that?
I don't have anything else to share about that. I'm not going to go down a rabbit hole on this. I've been very clear. The president's been very clear when we've been asked this question.
Oh, she should never be remembered for anything else. That was at Tim Runs His Mouth on X, by the way, not Maze. But we have a lot of stuff from Maze. So they're all good. Make sure you follow all these accounts. They're great for video. Folks, the woman is a disgrace to the podium. Now, you may be saying, well, Dan, she was lied to by Joe Biden. Folks, if this woman isn't smart enough to realize she's getting smoked up, then how is she smart enough to represent the United States? Remember, she's paid by the taxpayers, working in a taxpayer-funded building, to advance the message of the president of the United States, not the president of the Democrat Party. The woman's a disgrace. If Karine Jean-Pierre had any human dignity at all, folks in the chat, did we break the chat already? What should she do today? She should resign today. Today. There is zero doubt she should resign today and preserve some shred of human dignity. We don't have any problems with Rumble, right? Oh, okay, it's just my phone. Yeah, I got to put there we go. Resign today. Resign today. Show America. Please. Can we get the sucks up again? Because this woman sucks so bad. Like, just show America. You have some shred of backbone, and today say, I refuse, I'm not doing that again. Of course, encore performance. The hack goon, disgusting, filthy, enemies of freedom and liberty, the modern, disgusting, filthy liberal media have to make this story about what? What happens every time there is a Democrat scandal the media can't explain away? The story becomes a Republican's pounce story every single time. What's a Republican's pounce story? Because the media cannot explain away Democrat, disgusting, filthy, communist, authoritarian, filth bag, grotesquity behavior, they make the story about not the scandal, but the Republican reaction to it. Sometimes they actually write Republicans pounce. He's like, I got an example. No. Yes, we do. Politico. Republicans pounce on Biden pardoning his son Hunter. Notice, the story isn't about what the Democrats did, these scumbags. The story's about the Republican reaction. This is who Bullshitico is. This is why nobody takes these idiots seriously. It's why, according to that Pew survey or whatever it was, Gallup, 31% of Americans only trust the mainstream media, meaning 7 out of 10 think you guys suck. It's because you do suck. Here's at the Tonus, Tony Kinnan, a great tweet. Here are just some of the Biden lies that the media is covered for every single time because they're disgusting filth, just like the garbage Biden family. Filth. It's transitory inflation. Nope. Afghanistan was a success. Really? The border is secure. That's a good one. Robert Hur lied. Biden is just fine. Remember special counsel Hur? Sure. Remember the videos of Biden disappearing off camera? Oh, those are cheap fakes. They weren't. Biden had jet lag. No, he's got a cognitive disorder. Biden had a cold. No, he's got a cognitive disorder. Biden isn't going to be replaced. He was. Biden isn't going to pardon Hunter. He did. By the way, the list goes on and on. People have responded to this tweet, and you should retweet it. I did. It's a good one. And people have added to a series of other Biden lies. He traveled on the Tibetan plateau with Xi Jinping. He grew up in the Puerto Rican, Black, the Jewish community, the Greek community, the Italian community. He attended church on Sunday, the temple on Saturday. Then he went to the Islamic. He met with the imam, and he was a civil rights activist. He finished first in his class. He was the outstanding student. He was a letterman. The guy was Jerry Rice in the NFL before Jerry Rice was Jerry. This guy's full of shit, man. He's full of shit. Oh, he's leaving. What's the big deal? It is a big deal. It is a big deal. Because the story's not about disgusting, filthy Biden and his filthy, disgusting family. You know what the story's about? The media cover-up of this freaking crime family that's allowed them for decades to give you the double-barrel middle finger, the taxpayer. You were paying these idiots. Yeah, the Biden family. You were getting rich off these life losers. Now, I do want to throw this curveball in there. The Biden family is not out of the woods yet. There's zero question Hunter Biden is going to get hauled in front of Congress at some point. And now the fact that he has been pardoned in one of the most, if not the most expansive pardon in modern American history for crimes, federal crimes. Remember, you can't pardon for state crimes. So if Hunter Biden were to get charged by a state, there's absolutely nothing Biden can do. There's nothing Trump could do either when he's you can only pardon for federal crimes. And governors, but for federal crimes, that's it. The president. You know that. I'm sorry. I don't mean to sound like an asshole here, but you guys get that. Here's the problem they have. Now that he can't possibly incriminate himself for federal crimes that he has been pardoned on, if he's hauled in front of Congress, ladies and gentlemen, they got a legit case here to compel testimony. Now, I have zero doubt Hunter Biden's going to give them the middle finger and say, I'm not saying nothing about nothing. But then they should look at investigating him for ignoring this congressional subpoena. He's going to say, I'm not showing up. And here's another problem. If he doesn't tell the truth and decides to testify and he lies, he can still be charged with perjury. Here's a hat tip, Tom Elliott over at Grabian, great site. Here is a compilation, by the way. I told you this was a media story of the media filth and garbage that have protected this crime family at your expense for decades now, pretending these people were above it. Oh, look how gregarious and morally upstanding Joe Biden is. He's not going to pardon his son. Go back and look at my show. I am not wasting your freaking time. I told you there is zero chance Hunter Biden doesn't get a pardon because they've got to protect dad no matter what. And now it's happened. You listen to these media idiots, they're wrong again. Their batting average is 0. We're hitting 1,000. Check this out.
Presidential promise to put the law before family.
I said I abide by the jury decision. I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
Letting the world know that he will not wipe away the decision of 12 of his son's peers.
Was asked directly, and he has said he wouldn't pardon his son if he gets convicted.
Let's wait and see what happens if he loses.
Yeah, but he said it.
He's going to get pardoned by his dad. There's no question about that.
The president has ruled out pardoning his son.
Major commitment from the president, accepting the outcome of the trial and also pledging not to pardon his son.
So the challenge for him is really to continue to live up to his values when it was really personal, and he did that today.
It seems like a pretty normal, straightforward answer, but it takes new weight when we see what Trump is saying about the outcome of his trial, what we're hearing from other Republicans who say they don't accept the jury's verdict here in New York.
The contrast is profound. To sit there and say, well, I'm not going to intervene in the legal process, and I wouldn't pardon my son. One side, Democrats and Joe Biden protecting the justice system. And on the other, Republicans and Trump protecting Trump.
Oh my gosh, how much more can you liberal idiots take? Justin's still in school. Justin's like 17, okay? He's like entering his freshman year in college, Justin. If Justin goes to, poor guy, Justin's like 25 or something. Imagine going to a class, a biology class, where every single thing the professor tells you is wrong. Would you waste your money on the class? Would you waste your money on the class? If they not maybe money, but definitely right. Maybe if they describe mammals as lizards, you would be like, I'm out of here. Everything these idiots tell you is wrong. Batting average on our show, 1,000. Told you they were going to pardon this guy. That's so correct. Justin's like, you've already hit a home run. They haven't even pitched a freaking ball. I'm not wasting your time. I love you guys too much. Hey, the world's on edge right now. This year we've seen the media stoke animosity to the point of violence, the weaponization of our legal system, and political instability. We have no idea what's coming next. Why I train with iTarget Pro. It's a great system. They've been with me forever. Using a laser round and an app, you can practice safely with your actual weapon in the privacy and convenience of your own home. iTarget Pro comes in most calibers from 9mm to .223, so you can train with almost any firearm. That's why competitive shooters, me, military folks, police officers, they rely on dry fire drills as part of their regular training. I like it because I want to work on my sight picture, my grip, my sight alignment. These are all important characteristics. You got to be good with your firearm. Not only that, iTarget Pro saves you a ton of money on ammo and range fees, allowing you to practice anytime you want and more efficiently. Go to trainwithbongino.com and save 10%, plus get free shipping on your iTarget Pro system. Don't be fooled by knockoffs. Get the original dry fire training system at trainwithbongino.com. Train safe, train smart, train with iTarget. The website, trainwithbongino.com. That's trainwithbongino.com. Great product, iTarget Pro. Check them out. Thank you. Okay, back to the show. All the right people are really pissed off about this whole thing, by the way, with Kash Patel coming up, including Andy Weissman and others. But before we're done, I just want to play for you a clip again of how these people are always wrong on everything. If you are listening to Andrew McCabe, Jim Comey, Andrew Weissman, Chuck Todd, Brian Stelter, Rachel Maddow, Natasha Bertrand, all of these losers who have been on the wrong side of everything. The laptop, the intel officials, Spygate, collusion, the pardon. Why do you keep listening to these idiots? Here's Andrew Weissman, another human filth pile who used to work at the DOJ and was knee-deep in the spying scandal on Donald Trump and the collusion hoax. Here he is vouching for Biden. Oh, look how great he is. He's not going to pardon his son. These guys are a gift to us because all we got to do is play their own stupidity back for them. Check this out.
What is before us is a president who is living the rule of law. He is living it in in the most personal way. He is not pardoning his son, which he could do. These are federal charges. Right. He is not doing that. He is not doing it because he is living what it means to have a rule of law in this country.
That was our friend Mays. I don't. Listen. I need your help with this. Is it? Spit it out, Dan. It's not the spit out. I don't even know what to tell. Like I can't. I really. How many times are we going to have this conversation? How is it if you were a dumbass liberal? How are you still watching these morons? Are they going to get anything right, like ever, about anything? Can folks in the chat, one thing, tell me one major story in the Trump era from 2015 on. Tell me one major story the mainstream media got right. Please, I'll wait. Go ahead. Fire away in the chat. I'm looking forward to it. You can't because there isn't one. Why are you wasting your time? I love it. The Washington Post reaches out to me. Dan, I'm not kidding. Like, how is your show so big? Is this a blind spot for us? How are you beating these mainstream media outlets? Because we tell the truth. Because these dipshits can't get anything right. Man, it's frustrating. This is actually good news, though, because it gives us more material when Kash Patel, John Ratcliffe, and Tulsi Gabbard get there in the intelligence, law enforcement community, FBI, DNI, CIA. When they get in there, I want all these books opened up. Now, you may be saying right now the paper shredders are working overtime at the FBI and elsewhere. Folks, you're probably right. You're probably correct. They are probably desperately trying to hide bodies right now. They're doing the Joe Pesci, Bobby De Niro, Goodfellas, trying to hide Billy Bats and bury him in the woods. I have zero doubt that's happening, but they're not going to be able to get rid of all of it because the email trail, I'm sure people have saved stuff. I'm sure of it. You know, throw up the True Social Post. This came out, some great news. Donald Trump's proud to announce Kash Patel will serve as the next director of the FBI. Now, keep in mind, Christopher Wray's term runs till 2027. It's a 10-year term. He is the current train wreck of an FBI director in there right now. So one of two things has to happen. Christopher Wray has to resign, which he said he's not going to, or he has to be fired, which I assume Donald Trump is going to do, and I hope day one. Christopher Wray is a complete, absolute disaster and a train wreck. I wanted Kash Patel. He's going to be fantastic. I've known Kash for a long time. I know he knows where the bodies are buried, and you would know absolutely nothing about Spygate or collusion if it wasn't for what he and Devin Nunes and the rest of that team did. Now, what do I always say? Measure the impact of a political decision. In other words, how effective your tactics are by the response of your enemy. If you hear nothing from the Democrats, they generally don't feel threatened. The fact that they lost their over Kash Patel this weekend, I mean lost it. I could play clips all day over Kash Patel going to run the FBI, tells you everything you need to know. And imagine CNN now. CNN, which has been wrong on everything. The laptop, the pardons, Spygate, collusion, everything. Everything. You're CNN. You've been on the wrong side of everything. You bring on Andrew McCabe, a disgusting piece of human garbage who was the acting director and deputy director of the FBI while this entire targeting scandal and Donald Trump went on. He's involved in this entire thing from top to bottom, Andrew McCabe. He has had all kinds of legal issues because of it. And you bring this idiot on to comment on Kash Patel reforming the FBI. This segment actually happened. Check this out. Yeah, McCabe.
Andrew, I just want to start first with you and just get your reaction to this news tonight.
Yeah, well, it's a terrible development for the men and women of the FBI, and also for the nation that depends on a highly functioning, professional, independent Federal Bureau of Investigation. The fact that Kash Patel is profoundly unqualified for this job is not even like a matter for debate. So I think what we should really be thinking about right now is, what does this signal in terms of Donald Trump's intent for the FBI?
This guy is human garbage, Andrew McCabe. You understand this guy was at the top ranks of the FBI and was knee deep in the whole collusion hoax and spying scandal? They actually have this guy on as a subject matter expert. Folks in the chat, what's McCabe afraid of? Fire away. Fire away. McCabe, yes. Beauty on duty in the chat. McCabe is terrified. You're damn right. McCabe, and Kash is unqualified? Prosecutor, Department of Defense high-ranking official, guy's knee-deep in justice issues, worked on the congressional side. You know what Andy McCabe's qualifications are? His wife is a doctor. Andrew McCabe, according to a high-ranking source of mine, was never, ever a good quality FBI agent. My source tells me that he was, quote, a briefer. That all he was good at was getting up in front of the room and talking a lot of smack. This guy, Andrew McCabe, is commenting on the qualifications of Kash Patel. You have got to be kidding me. Why is he freaking out about Kash Patel? Folks, you got to see this clip coming up next. And by the way, everyone's saying Kash is going to have a tough time getting through the Senate. Listen, guys in the Senate and the Republican side, it's put your egos aside. This is not a threat. I'm not here to threaten anybody. I'm a political commentator advancing a political cause. So sit down and stop the whining, okay? To the rhinos in the Senate, the good guys, we love you, right? To the rhinos in the Senate, oh, we don't want to be told who to. No one's telling you anything. I have an audience on a political show, and it's the biggest one out there. And I'm telling you right now, is a republic, you guys are supposed to represent us. You've already shit-canned Matt Gaetz. You guys mess with this guy in Senate confirmation. I'm telling you right now, between my show, Elon Musk, and the Twitter warriors out there, I'm telling you right now, there will be political ramifications. You can ignore us all you want. Oh, we don't need you guys. No, you do need us. And we need you too. And you better come through for Kash. There is zero reason not to confirm him lickety-split once Christopher Wray is gone. I'll play for you a clip coming up next of why Andrew McCabe and deep staters are freaking out about Kash going and opening up the books at the FBI. Nothing delivers comfort and joy quite like the unrivaled quality and taste of Omaha Steaks. We're an Omaha Steaks household because they can't be matched. Every single bite is absolutely delicious. They make unforgettable gifts with 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, score an extra $30 off with promo code Bongino. The food is delicious. With generations of experience, they consistently deliver the world's best steak experience. Had a couple this weekend. And the gifting experts at Omaha Steaks have made it easy to deliver the perfect gift with thoughtfully curated gift packages featuring gourmet favorites. Paul and I send Omaha Steaks all the time to family and friends. For the holidays, we are stocking up ourselves for all the entertaining we have planned between my birthday. It's going to be a huge event. Justin, is it not? Yes, it will. There will be a lot of food consumed at the Bongino house, and we will be ready. From their legendary steaks to their perfectly sized desserts, save 50% off site-wide for a limited time at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our listeners get an extra $30 off with promo code Bongino. That's 50% off at omahasteaks.com and an extra $30 off with promo code Bongino. Minimum purchase may apply. And our last sponsor today is Jase, Jase. It's been a tough year for a lot of us. Hurricanes, emergencies, they wreak havoc on our lives. We've seen these disasters all over the country. You have got to be prepared. You're only a few minutes away from an emergency. And the thing about an emergency, it hits when no one's looking. That's why it's an emergency. You've got to have vital medications on hand. That's where the Jase case comes in. So go today to jase.com, Jase. Enter code Bongino at checkout for a discount on your order. The Jase case is a personalized emergency kit. It has essential antibiotics and medications you need to have on hand anytime, but especially during disasters. From antibiotics to EpiPens and more, Jace will provide a kit of essentials you need. All it takes to get a Jace case is to visit jace.com, fill out a simple online form, review the terms, and as soon as Jace Medical has a physician evaluate your request, the Jace case could be on its way to you. Go to jase.com, enter code Bongino at checkout for a discount on your order. That's promo code BONGINO at jase.com. Jace Medical's products are not intended as a substitute for professional medical treatment or advice. Consult with your healthcare provider. Thank you, Jace. Here is why they are afraid of Kash Patel. Kash did stints at the Department of Defense and in the DNI, the Directorate of National Intelligence Office. And he went in there and Kash said, what the hell do you guys do in here besides causing trouble for everyday Americans? I'm not really sure what's going on over here. They don't like that. Follow the money, folks. This is about jobs, this is about billets, and this is about money, and nobody wants their job going away. Don't make this overcomplicated. And Kash Patel knows there's a lot of waste in here. Check this out.
Then we need to decrease what I call government creep with personnel. The FBI's footprint has gotten so freaking big, and the biggest problem the FBI has come out of its intel shops. I'd break that component out of it. I'd shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one and reopening the next day as a museum of the deep state. And I'd take the 7,000 employees that work in that building and send them across America to chase down criminals. Go be cops. You're cops. Go be cops. Go chase down murderers and rapists and drug dealers and violent offenders. What do you need 7,000 people there for? Same thing with DOJ. What are all these people doing here? Looking for their next government promotion, looking for their next fancy government title, looking for their parachute out of government. So while you're bringing in the right people, you also have to shrink government.
So massive government reform.
Yeah. And you got to work with Congress to eliminate the billets. This is one of the things we did when I was deputy DNI. We got to DNI and I was like, okay, what do all these people do? We've got the CIA, so why do I have analysts doing the CIA's job here? Why do I have a floor of them? Like, give me a good answer. I don't know everything. I don't know a lot. But if you can give me an answer that satisfies their existence, I'm all in. Well, we just have our own people. Okay, well, now we don't. And we went to Congress and zeroed out a bunch of billets, and they hated us for it.
Why? Why would Congress hate you for that?
Not Congress, the public. Congress is like, great, you saved us money. You're the only agency that returned money this year because we didn't spend our entire budget. We were literally funding seats with no humans in them.
Folks, that is a hugely important clip. He addressed the reason I didn't focus on the FBI's mission creep into intelligence gathering on American citizens, which he indicates is a problem, is because I covered that last week with Kash, so I don't want to redo that. But I wanted to play the whole clip in context so I can't be accused of falsely editing it. That leads into the second part, where he's implying, and I believe he's right, that funding these extra seats of people who are just redundant, where we have other people doing the exact same thing, gives them a whole bunch of spare time to do things like target American citizens in their intelligence work when they should be targeting terrorists. That is a hugely important clip. This guy absolutely gets it. I am not telling you this because I've known him for a while. We don't have coffee every weekend. I know him as well as I know anyone else in politics. I'm telling you this because early on, when the Spygate thing was going on, he's one of the guys who was like, dude, you're onto something. Keep going. We see it too. He knew and he put it out. We were putting it out as it was coming in. Now this guy, Mike Lawler, I'm about to play. I'm playing this clip for a reason. This is one of those congressman guys who's like a really establishment guy. He's in a swingy district, tries not to say anything controversial. I'm putting this out there because there's this Twitter thing going on. Oh, Kash is going to have confirmation problems. He better not. And I don't know where they're getting that from. Again, this guy's a pretty establishment guy, this Republican congressman. I'm only playing it because he seems pretty confident that Kash should be okay. And he fights back on, I think it's CNN. Is it CNN? Yeah, CNN. He fights back. If this guy's saying this, you can be reasonably confident that the establishment people are kind of like, hey, this isn't worth the fight. Let's get him to it. We'll see what happens. And our eyeballs are on it. But this is an important clip to see what the other side of our movement's doing. We have our side and then the establishment side. We got to be a step ahead of them. Watch this.
Donald Trump campaigned on reforming the FBI and the Department of Justice. So I don't know why any of this is, frankly, surprising to people. President Trump has nominated in Kash Patel, someone who served as chief of staff at the Department of Defense, someone who served as deputy director of the NSI, someone who served as a senior staffer on the House Intelligence Committee. He was a federal prosecutor under the Obama administration, and so certainly has requisite experience for this role. I think there's no question President Trump made very clear that the Department of Justice and the FBI would be reformed if he was elected to a second term. And I think, obviously, with the selection of Pam Bondi and Kash Patel, that's exactly what he's going to do.
It's a hugely important clip. I can't emphasize this enough. This guy's not my bag of donuts. He's definitely not a MAGA guy or a Tea Party guy or a libertarian guy or a conservative guy. He's always been kind of a centrist establishment, swampy guy on stuff. But I put it out there because if he's saying that, he's not saying it by accident. He's now on the record on CNN. How on the record? We're playing it on our show on freaking Monday. Now it's part of the record. It's not going to go away. So he must know something. But it's on us to keep the squeeze on. We're not threatening anybody. I love these senators. Oh my gosh, we want to do our own thing. It's not about you doing your own thing. It's about you exercising the will of the people in a representative democracy. You screwed us already on the Gates thing. We don't want Gates. Okay, you took your scalp. Fine. Now, it's not fine with me, but there's not much we can do about it now. He dropped out. We're not, by the way, we're not going to forget what happened with that, especially with the Utah guy. But it's time to get these people through. Enough bullshit, man. Here's another reason they're freaking out about Kash. Have you seen this clip? By the way, that was from the Sean Ryan show before with Kash. This is from the Tim Pool show. Proper credit here. Kash was on with Tim Pool a while ago. I want you to listen to this clip, and I'm going to play the clip he's talking about afterwards of Ted Cruz. Kash knows that there was something up with January 6th and something big. The federal footprint on the January 6th insurrection, with air quotes, right, is one of the biggest scandals in American history. Between what happened at the Capitol and the pipe bomb incident at the DNC, Kash absolutely knows something's up. I want you to listen to him on Tim Pool, and I'm going to play the clip he's talking about afterwards. This is another reason they're freaked out. Watch this.
There's a video showing a guy with an earpiece pulling people into the building. All right. Mm-hmm. You combine that with the evidence of Ray Epps, and it looks like you have a preponderance of evidence suggesting there may have been federal law enforcement involved in making that thing happen.
I'll get you beyond a reasonable doubt.
All
Two
right.
pieces of information. Ray Epps was on FBI's most wanted list one day, and the next day he was off of the FBI's most wanted list. There are only two ways that happens. You die, or your informant. Put that aside. Under congressional testimony, Jill Sanborn, who I used to work with, the head of the FBI Counterintelligence Division, in charge of all these investigations, testified under oath when Senator Cruz asked her, flat out, were there federal agents involved with January 6th? And she said, quote, Senator, I can't answer that at this time. Not if the answer was definitively no, having been a DOJ FBI guy myself, she would have gone there and said, nope, absolutely not. The reason she said I can't answer that is because of the same stonewalling they gave us during Russiagate with Christopher Steele Halper and everybody else. It's the same narrative, and I'm telling you they were there.
So you're saying that she said I can't answer that because the answer is yes, and that would compromise whatever their operation was.
Exactly.
Folks, I have always given you the straight scoop, okay? When I get information and a source says you can run with it, you can't keep sources in a body of them and do investigative reporting. If a source says, don't say anything yet, I'm not ready to put it out, and you go on the air and you basically screw the source over. Because, sorry, Justin, if this sounds dumb, just stop me. Here's how this works. Sources are working other sources. So if you go out and put out information when a source says, don't say anything yet, here's what I'm working on, then the source who got the information from the source, the original source says, how did that shit get out on the damn Bongino show? You have to put it out when the guy or the woman tells you, I have a data set, it's good to go. Do you get what I'm saying? I've always disclosed to you a full data set in context. I'm telling you the feds are knee deep in January 6th and the pipe bombing incident. Let me tell you again, before I play the Ted Cruz clip. A Fed friend of mine who is an actual federal agent, okay, was there. He is one of the good guys because he's been feeding me information for a really long time, including pictures and everything else. He was there on January 6th with the whole pipe bombing insurrection incident, and he has told me with actual photos that there were a boatload of feds there. So why won't they answer the question? Because they don't want you to know who they are. Because once you find out who they are, you're going to find out who was working with who. And by the way, don't assume everybody was an FBI agent. There were agents there, no doubt, on January 6th. Zero doubt. And a good handful or more of them. There were a lot. Who were the assets? Who was working with the federal agents? They weren't agents themselves, but who were working with the FBI. That's the question. That's the question I don't have the full data set on yet. He was also there when the pipe bomb thing happened, and days later, they told him to stand down, quote, mysteriously. This is bullshit, and everybody knows it, and Cash knows it too. Here's Ted Cruz talking to the FBI official, and watch how freaky-deaky douche he gets when he asks a simple question. How many federal agents were at the scene? It's not a hard question to answer. Check this out.
How many FBI agents or confidential informants actively participated in the events of January 6th?
Sir, I'm sure you can appreciate that I can't go into the specifics of sources and methods.
Did any FBI agents or confidential informants actively participate in the events of January 6th? Yes or no?
Yes or no? Sir, I can't answer that.
Did any FBI agents or confidential informants commit crimes of violence on January 6th?
I can't answer that, sir.
Did any FBI agents or FBI informants actively encourage and incite crimes of violence on January 6th?
Sir, I can't answer that.
Okay, that was not Guy and them screwing up the audio. That's the lady getting feedback on her own system. She's at FBI headquarters. Why can't you answer it? I just want to be clear. The FBI and the deep state DOJ that's been trying to sabotage us, the MAGA movement, and Donald Trump since 2015. That same FBI has told us that this insurrection was one of the worst instances of civil disturbance since the Civil War. And yet you can't say to us, hey, listen, we had this many feds there and they saw them. Why not? If they witnessed crimes. Folks, listen, I worked as a GS 1811 for years, working criminal cases in the government. You're obligated in court at some point not to disclose the identity, but the information at least about what a CI or someone else said. You can't just say, hey, someone told us something. You have to show that the CI, the confidential informant, or CHS, confidential human source, has been used before, given reliable information, or has been used the first time and the information they gave you been verified. You can't just say, hey, these people did some stuff. This is a huge scam. This entire January 6th narrative you've been told is absolute bullshit. The whole thing. It's a political ploy to keep the threat to democracy narrative alive because it's all they have to distract you. And now you see the real threat to democracy with this ridiculous pardon he lied about forever. Doesn't come from us. It comes from them. The left, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and the Obama crew. The entire time. Folks, we have got to break up this deep state cartel, or we are never going to recover as a country. These people have been driving this country into the ground for decades now. Intel officials, government bureaucrats, elected officials, NGOs, lobbyists, insiders, billionaires. I'm not knocking them for their capitalist endeavors. I'm talking about the Soros types that use their money to give you the double-barrel middle finger and screw this country over. How much more evidence can you possibly need than this thing? Hat tip Jerry Dunleavy put this tweet up. You know General Michael Hayden? Again, human garbage. He's the former CIA director. General Hayden, you know this guy? You know what he also signed? Yeah, quote, the bullshit Hunter Biden laptop letter. Look what this guy shares. This guy was running the CIA. He shares this tweet. The White's House. The White's House. Implying some type of racial motive for Trump appointing Kash Patel, who we all know is very white. Kash Patel. Do you know that, Justin? Very white. Kash Patel. He's a white. What's the category? The white Hispanic? Is he a white Indian man? Is that how that works? Is that when you want to characterize people according to your little racial identity politics, shitty boxes you put together? Yeah, white adjacent. Thank you, Guy. I forgot the term. Kash is definitely white adjacent. He's a sympathizer, Justin. A sympathizer. This guy was the director of the CIA. Tell me again the deep state isn't real. And folks, this is an article in the newsletter today. This is super important by the great Miranda Devine. I need you to pay attention to this piece. Bongino.com/newsletter. The newsletter's free. You need to read this piece. Because if you want to understand what happened and what's going on with the Biden crime family, and what I told you in the beginning to tie the show together, they are not protecting Hunter Biden, the Biden crime family, and the pardons. I promise you. They are protecting Joe and Obama. They are protecting Joe and Obama. Why do you think Joe Biden's pardon went back to 2014? Who was the vice president and president 2014? Yes, Joe Biden and Barack Obama. Obama appoints Joe Biden as the point man on Ukraine. All of a sudden, sensitive information starts making its way through the Biden crime family to the Ukrainians, while money makes its way from the Ukrainians to the Biden crime family. You think it's a coincidence? Do you remember this story in the New York Post about the FBI? Remember the informant they had who said, hey, listen, there's money going to the Biden crime family, and the informant found himself locked up? Here's the story. Quote, the FBI and DOJ's politically motivated persecution of a former informant, all to protect the Bidens. Miranda Devine notes, one of the most disturbing scandals of the Hunter Biden saga is the imprisonment without trial of a former FBI informant. Remember the names, folks. Alexander Smirnov. They note that he once told his FBI handler, this guy was a paid source. He told his FBI handler about Ukrainian claims of a $10 million bribe to the Bidens. Money, Ukraine, Bidens. And has been languishing in prison for 9 months on charges he lied to the FBI. I believe fake charges. Last week, oh, this is coincidental, federal prosecutors slapped new tax evasion charges on Smirnov, which suggests they know their original indictment is too weak for a jury to convict him when he faces trial beginning on January 8th. President Trump, or soon to be President Trump, President-elect Trump right now, I am begging you as a friend, man, you need to pardon this guy. And we need to get everything from this guy Smirnov. Was his information about the 10 million bribe accurate, or was it hearsay from someone else? I don't know. But there's only one way to find out, and that's to bust him out of prison on this fake charge with a pardon and get this guy to talk. Because I'm telling you, the Bidens are doing everything they can right now to brush over their footprints so no one can track them through the woods. Folks, if we can't crack up this deep state and start putting people in jail for crimes, I'm not suggesting we make them up like the Biden team, then our whole movement is freaking useless. This deep state cartel has had their boots on our neck forever, folks. Listen to me here. This is important. I'm going to play this next clip for you from Rogan's show in a second that you need to hear too. This deep state cartel has been in us over for too long now. We have 2 years to fix this. 2 years. No, Dan, we have 4. No, we don't. We actually have closer to a year. Because what happens after the first year is the senators, a third of the class, and the entire House of Representatives is again up for election in the midterms in 2 years. The deuce. When do they start campaigning? A year from now, and that's all they care about. We have a year to get this done. It is not a lot of time, but it's doable. There's no time for BS. We have got to break this thing up, or we are never going to escape from this boot on our neck. You can vote your way into socialism, but you sure as hell can't vote your way out. We have 1 year. Mark Andreessen was on Joe Rogan's show. Andreessen dropped some absolute bombshells, folks. It was one of the most amazing interviews I've heard in a long time. And he was talking about this phenomenon. This is why I started paralleleconomy.com. If you're interested, I'm not, it's an alternative to Stripe. But this is one of the reasons I did it. Folks, debanking and the war on the financial system. By the way, this is why lefties hate Bitcoin and can't stand it, because they want to make sure everything is run by the government so the government can use the financial system, just like Biden uses the DOJ, as a weapon against you. The government may have a constitutional limit on what they can do to limit your free speech, but they work their way around it by using the financial system and social media to do the dirty work for them. Listen to this clip that went viral by Andreessen talking about debanking. Was this you? Because I know a lot of friends this happened to. Check this out.
Debanking is when you as either a person or your company are literally kicked out of the banking system.
Like they did to Kanye.
Exactly. Like they did to Kanye. My partner Ben's father has been debanked.
Really?
We had an employee who
For what?
For having the wrong politics. for saying unacceptable things. Under current banking regulations, here's a great thing. Under current banking regulations, after all the reforms of the last 20 years, there's now a category called a politically exposed person. PEP. And if you are a PEP, you are required by financial regulators to kick them off of your to kick them out of your bank.
What?
You're not allowed to have
What if you're politically on the left?
Well, that's fine.
No,
because they're not politically exposed.
So no one on the left gets debanked?
I have not heard of a single instance of anybody on the left getting debanked.
Financial warfare. Financial warfare against the American citizens. The government they've done it. I get it. I understand they have done it. But they are not supposed to do it. The Constitution is supposed to protect your right to a political opinion free of government interference. So what the scum in the deep state have done is they've deputized social media companies and the banking system to do the speech suppression for them. Check this out.
Italy has seen fascism. Italy has seen these things. You guys, you understand what happens. You have seen this before. My country is in its adolescence. Adolescence is very arrogant. Adolescence thinks it knows everything. Adolescence is naive and ignorant and arrogant. And we are in our ignorant, arrogant adolescence. We haven't seen this before in our country. So Americans who don't travel, who 80% don't have a passport, who are uneducated, are in their extraordinary naivete.
You naive, dopey hayseeds. You're also stupid out there. I mean, you should have voted for like Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. I mean, she's really bright. He's on top of it and everything. I mean, it's not like there was inflation, open borders, a crime crisis, and a bunch of international wars that broke out. Oh, shit, that did happen. That did happen on their watch. Folks, the longer these people live in the Truman Show bubble, have you ever seen the movie The Truman Show? Listen, it's not that great of a movie, but it was popular back when I was a kid. Jim Carrey plays this character where everybody's acting around him, but he doesn't know it. He thinks his life is real. The longer we can keep these dumbass liberals like Sharon Stone, famous for an interrogation scene where, woo, you know what I mean? That's all she's famous for. The longer we keep her thinking we're stupid, the less work they'll do to educate themselves about who we actually are, which enables us to sneak up on them like ninjas every single time. Karate man. Although you do ninjutsu, not karate. We're like little ninjas. We keep creeping up on them. No one ever sees us coming. That's the greatest part about the Bongino army. Everybody ignores us until we're on their doorstep. Like that, what's that movie? What is it where the guys they show up and they knock on her. We're here. They never see us coming. They never see us coming. And like little ninjas, we get them every time. Some of you asking about the shirts, by the way. I'll get to that in a second. Paula loves the shirts. We donate a lot of money to charity through the shirts. So 1 second. I got another one for you, too. You're going to love it. I want you to see this one. This is a Michael suggestion. Producer Michael's like, Dan, you can't do a show about dumbass Hollywood celebrities calling us all morons when they play make-believe for a living without playing Alec Baldwin. Quick Alec Baldwin story. Before you listen to this clip about how dumb you are from, again, contemporary intellectual icon Alec Baldwin. This is true. I swear to you this happened. I'm at the U.S. Open one day. I'm stuck on the Hillary Clinton detail watching a tennis match, right? She's visiting there. I'm the site agent. I'm in the Long Island office. Long story short, because I had worked at the U.S. Open, the tennis tournament when I was a kid, they're like, can you do the security there? I'm sitting next to her. Who sits next to me? Freaking Alec Baldwin. He starts talking to me. I'm trying to tell this guy, like, I'm working. Don't talk to me. He looks at me. I've got a Movado watch on. It was a cheap one. It wasn't like one of these expensive ones. He looks at me. He goes, this is G. He goes, is that a Monando? In my head, I'm like, what the f is a Monando? I don't even know what a Monando. Oh, you mean my Movado? A Monando. Guy's a moron. He's so stupid. He wouldn't shut up. I was like elbowing him, like, please stop talking. I'm working. Here's Alec Baldwin calling you all morons, too. Keep him in this bubble, folks. It only works for us. Check this out.
There is a gap, if you will, in information for Americans. Americans are very uninformed about reality, what's really going on with climate change, Ukraine, Israel, you name it, all the biggest topics in the world. Americans have an appetite for a little bit of information.
Got to get your information from real sources of truth like Alec Baldwin. Alec, be careful with the guns and all, not the... Maybe you should have, I'm just saying. This is what we're dealing with. They really believe this about you. Keep them in the bubble. Keep them in their bubble because it enables us to sneak up on them. Hey, by the way, for the holidays, Paula, this is her operation. She knows you guys like the shirts. This was her idea, so we'll call this the Paula shirt. It says on the right side of freedom and liberty. Available now, store.bongino.com. Enables us to give a lot of money to charity. We appreciate it. We got a whole bunch of stuff. You see the coin. We did a challenge coin finally. I don't know if you guys like that. The back says, don't get dead. So there you go. And then this one is my personal favorite. Another Paula special is there for you now. It says, we are the news now. We are the news now because we are the news now. So if you want to pick one up to you. We appreciate it. Store.bongino.com. And thank you, Paula, for putting it together. So I wore white, the white color. Sometimes, got to put a little white on. I like it. I like this white shirts. I like the whole T-shirt look. Folks, they really want you to believe this stuff, that you're the morons out there. But here's the kind of interesting thing about this. Not only is that obviously a slur against us and insulting, but they have it all backwards. Have you ever debated a leftist? Folks in the chat, seriously, have you guys ever debated a leftist, like a hardcore leftist, whether at a Thanksgiving dinner or whatever it is, you got the lefty, younger cousin who can't shut up or whatever it is. You wish it didn't happen, but they won't shut their mouths. You ever notice they don't really know anything? So I think as a defense mechanism, what they do, the Sharon Stones, the Alec Baldwins, and the other liberal family members and others, is they want to believe because they don't know anything. And they don't want to accept the fact that they're intellectually stupid. What do? They transfer that onto you. Transference is a thing in psychology. They transfer onto you their own insecurities. Here's what I mean. I want you to watch this clip from the Piers Morgan show. This is exactly what I'm talking about, how they don't know shit. Now, if you are a leftist, you've been told that Project 2025 is the boogeyman. Have you heard of this thing? Project 2025 is a very simple thing. It was a think tank, the Heritage Foundation, that puts together a series of ideas. That's what they get paid to do. Donors donate money to think tanks to think of things and ideas. The left has them. The right has them. There's nothing interesting about it at all. It's been around forever. Look up the Hewlett Foundation on the left. There's a big Wall Street Journal article about it yesterday. They're a bunch of lefties. They put together ideas, okay? Project 2025 became the boogeyman. The left ran hundreds of millions of dollars of commercials. Oh my gosh, Project 2025 is going to destroy the world, right? Now, I can tell you a good chunk of what's in Project 2025. Realigning entitlements with market-based structures, ways to control the regulatory apparatus and use Chevron. I mean, I can't tell you every single detail, but I can give you a good chunk of what Project 2025 was about. The leftists are the ones making an issue about it, not us. Here, a lefty on Piers Morgan show is given a golden opportunity to tell one of the people responsible for Project 2025, the Heritage Foundation guy running it right now, on TV, what he objects to. Let's see who's really uneducated, ignorant, and stupid here. Check this out.
Let me go to a friend on the left, Brian, because you tweeted or posted to X on 25th of November about Project 2025. You've got one of the architects sitting right next to me here. You said Trump just named to architect of Project 2025 Russ Vought to his cabinet. But hey, thank God mainstream media didn't just take Trump's tepid denials at face value and slap them in their headlines before the election. So look, you've got an opportunity now. You've got one of the other architects sitting right next to me. What do you want to say to him?
I mean,
now's your chance.
I don't know.
No, that's very articulate. Thank you.
I mean, I don't know what you mean. Like, I don't have.
Well, you obviously have a big problem with Project 2025. You've got one of the.
I
do. He's giving him the opportunity to knife him right there on TV. Tell the whole world he's right here. Tell Kevin Roberts, who's a very nice guy, by the way, from Heritage, very smart guy. Tell Kevin Roberts right now. Tell him your beef with Project 2025. You know what this reminds me of? When you go up to the terror crowd and you go, from the river to the sea, you go, which river, which sea? And they're like, the Mississippi? The Pacific? They don't know shit. Go look up the psychological term transference. You'll see what I mean. People transfer their own insecurities onto others because they don't want to feel like they're alone in being stupid. They don't, so they think everybody else is dumb too. People do this all the time. I got to tell you, I wasn't too. Let me know in the chat because this show's for you guys, the Bongino Army. It's not for me. I like it, but I don't. Guy, you're always my worst critic, which I appreciate. Were you guys cool with me starting with a little lighter stuff today on Wednesday? I know this isn't like the heaviest stuff, dumbass Sharon Stone and things like that. I was really unsure putting the show together yesterday. I had it in mind, like it's a Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving. I don't want to like hammer everyone with, but was that crazy? Is it not like the flavor of my show? I hope you guys enjoy it. I mean, we got a pretty good crowd for Wednesday so far, so I hope so. But I just want you to know, because you're part of my life and I let you into my internal struggles all the time. I got issues like everyone else, bro, that I really struggled with this yesterday. I'm like, do we put this stuff first? But it's so hard not to laugh at it. How the left is so in love with faux expertise and being hip and cool without actually knowing anything. Now, I told you about the schism. The schism on the left is real. You've got the lefties getting crazier on the far left, and you've got this now, I think, growing wing of the Democrat Party trying to pull them towards sanity. One of the lead voices that you've seen it with Cenk from the Young Turks. You've seen it with, and again, I'm not applauding these guys' ideas. They're still Democrats. However, this is going on right now. You've got this kind of faux centrist ring of the party. And James Carville, who was a Clinton advisor, has been one of these guys. I've been using his clips because he's been absolutely losing it post-election over all the dumbasses out there pretending they didn't get smoked. This clip is just glorious. He's talking about these 20-year-old staffers the Kamala Harris campaign hired. Listen, I love 20-year-olds. I was 20. You know a lot. You don't let anybody talk down to you. However, if you're 20 and you know a lot, you also know you don't know as much as people who are older, but just because you haven't been alive, that's not your fault. We love 20. We have a great young audience. There are a lot of patriots out there who are in their teens. However, smart younger men and even 50-year-olds, I don't pretend to know what an 80-year-old's been alive 30 years longer than me. The Democrats are in love with youth and this hip image and being cool, despite the fact that some of the advice they get from them is really stupid. Listen to Carville lace into them for telling Kamala not to go on Joe Rogan's podcast, the biggest show in the world. Check this out.
The vice president was thinking about going on Joe Rogan's show, and a lot of the younger progressive staffers pitched a hissy fit. Supposedly the campaign said that wasn't the term de facto, but they did. When you put a campaign together and you hire young people to do work, let me tell you exactly what you tell these people, what I would tell them. Not only am I not interested in your fucking opinion, I'm not even going to call you by your name. You're 23 years old. I don't really give a shit what you think. And let me tell you another huge error, huge fucking error this made, is when people said campaigns need to reflect progressive values. No, they don't. No, they don't. Campaigns are authoritarian by their nature. And if I were running a 2028 campaign and I had some little snot-nosed 23-year-old saying, I'm going to resign if you don't do this, not only would I fire that motherfucker on the spot, I would find out who hired them and fire that person on the spot. I'm really not interested in your uninformed, stupid, jackass opinion as to whether you go on Joe Rogan or
not. I love reading the chat. You guys crack me up. So, T-Bone W. What the fuck is that? He puts it. I told you what it is. It's a bunch of lefties kicking each other's asses, engaged in an ideological civil war. And it's glorious to watch. Every single second of it is absolutely glorious to watch. It explains this. I want you to look at this New York Times poll. Folks, the majority of Americans are not crazy. You know that. This woke stuff, this is why they lost. My friend Dario sent this over the other day, and I was looking at this. Groups that shifted towards Republicans. Do you realize the Democrats are getting their asses kicked? Black voters, Hispanic voters, Asian voters. They're getting their asses kicked everywhere because people are starting to wake up that this craziness Carville's talking about is not flyover country. It's not rednecks and hayseeds and clingers and bitter Americans. These are the people who make America work. These are the people who go to soccer games and basketball games and are raising their kids. And they're all starting to wake up. There's a massive eye-opening going on, folks. The awakening has occurred everywhere. And the best day the left ever had is yesterday. Folks, things are changing. I believe Donald Trump's appointments of Marty Makary and Jay Bhattacharya, NIH, FDA over there, these are going to be huge. There is a mass awakening for real expertise and smart people. And you're seeing it now. I want to play this clip for you coming up next. It's from the Joe Rogan podcast Twitter channel. It's so good. It shows you how the left will rely on faux expertise and people they think are hip and cool and edgy rather than people who actually know shit. That's the difference between us and them. Hey, nothing delivers comfort and joy quite like the unrivaled quality and taste of Omaha Steaks. This year, skip the holiday hustle and bustle and save 50% off site-wide during their cyber sale at omahasteaks.com. Plus, get a $30 reward card when you shop early and score an extra $30 off with promo code Bongino. That's a big discount. Paul and I just stocked the fridge. I opened up my fridge yesterday. There's Omaha all over the place. We love Omaha Steaks. The food's delicious. I've been a customer for a long time. Omaha got us through some really long nights. You throw a steak right on the grill. I do it Pittsburgh style, little Omaha seasoning. Absolutely delicious. So tender, constantly delivering the world's best steak experience. And their gifting experts made it easy to deliver the perfect gift with thoughtfully curated gift packages starting at $89.99. From legendary steaks to mouth-watering desserts and more, save 50% off site-wide during the cyber sale at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our listeners get an extra $30 off with promo code Bongino and a $30 reward card when you shop early. That's 50% off at omahasteaks.com and an extra $30 off with promo code Bongino, OMAHA, omahasteaks.com. Minimum purchase may apply. Visit omahasteaks.com for details. Thanks, Omaha Steaks. This is what I'm talking about. The left can continue to rely on Sharon Stone and Alec Baldwin for their expertise in certain areas. We're going to continue to rely on people who actually know something. The Joe Rogan podcast put this thing up. I know you guys are really hot on the appointment of these public health officials now, and you should be. Bhattacharya was the author of the Barrington Declaration. That turned out to be right. It said, don't shut stuff down. This virus, you're not going to be able to stop it. Natural immunity is a thing. The masks don't work. These are crap. And folks, listen, I got hammered pretty bad for telling you the truth about COVID early. It's why we're not on YouTube. It's why I went over to Rumble. I'll get to that in a second. But I want you to watch this. This is a clip from Rogan. Remember when Donald... What's that? Matter of failure. Okay, I'm sorry. Give me proper credit there. I want you to watch this. This is Donald Trump telling people early on in the COVID pandemic the same thing we said. Please go look it up. Don't take my word for it. I'm not trying to take credit for it. I'm just saying go back and look. Bona fides matter. I told everyone this death rate is being exaggerated dramatically. Trump told you the same thing, and they all laughed at him. Yeah, watch what happened. Check this out.
Well, I think the 3.4% is really a false number. Based on a lot of conversations with a lot of people that do this, I think the number is way under 1%.
So to fact check, the World Health Organization says the coronavirus death rate is 3.4%.
President Trump lies that the World Health Organization is wrong.
The number is 3.4%. 3.4% is what it's being reported around the world.
Making it deadlier. So much death.
The death rate.
The percentage is 3.4%. And no hunch from the president can change that.
Trump lied about the most recent World Health Organization estimate that the global death rate of coronavirus is 3.4%.
The 3.4% death rate was wrong, and WHO data later updated it to
a fraction of 1%.
Let's go back into history.
Trump has a hunch that the death rate is lower than 1%.
Way under 1%.
Way under 1%.
Will someone put a mozzarella stick in his stupid hole?
Trump lied to viewers about the mortality rate.
Way under 1%.
False information.
He's spreading disinformation.
Misinformation and dangerous disinformation.
If you're president of the United States, you have the world's greatest scientists at your disposal. You listen to them.
Leading scientists, including Dr. Fauci, wrote in the New England Journal of Medicine that the death rate could be considerably less than 1%.
Folks, how does it feel? Really, you're in the chat. You're talking to me live. I'm watching you guys right here. Who wrote that? I freaking hate our media. Quench57. Quench, I'm with you, brother or sister. I don't know. I know you know your pronouns. I'm just not sure. Quench57 could be a man or a woman. Quench, I am with you. How does it feel? Really, I'm assuming good, but let me know in the chat. How does it feel that probably 90+% of us are not public health people? Some of you are EMTs, paramedics, first responders, doctors, PAs. Most of us aren't. Most of us have different jobs that most of us don't have any scientific background in public health space, epidemiology, or virology at all. How does it feel to know you knew you were being lied to while the world's greatest, quote, experts fell right in the trap? The stupid, smart people are the biggest infection, pun intended, the world has ever seen. They are smart, educated people who will fall for anything. And then when they realize they got hosed, they stick to the script because they don't want to look stupid. You remember this? Someone in the chat said I should send YouTube a thank you card. I already have. It's in my book. My last book, I wrote a whole chapter on giving YouTube the double barrel. Remember when YouTube banned me? YouTube permanently bans Fox News host Dan Bongino. Why? They get a load of this shit. Is this hilarious? I was banned years ago after I posted a video where I questioned the effectiveness of using masks against the coronavirus. Thank you, YouTube. Now that we got 3.45 million subscribers on Rumble, the biggest live stream in the country. Some days the biggest live stream in the world. How does it feel that you got and we didn't? Feels great, doesn't it? The greatest thing that ever happened was me telling you on YouTube that the vaccine does not stop the spread of COVID. They told me, don't say that again. Don't say that again. And I told you masks don't work. And they banned us. Greatest day of my life on there. It's what happens when you're far ahead. Folks, there's a big debate going on Twitter right now by some of these social media influencers. I don't say that as a pejorative or as a negative. There's a big debate about what we should do with people who have undergone the awakening process and have now, what do we call, red pilled, and they've now seen the light and they're coming over to our side. There is. Some people are saying that, there needs to be some kind of, reckoning with these. Listen, politics is about power, and I don't get emotional about anything. I see everything as a spreadsheet. If I can use someone who saw the light as a +1 and get them to vote for us, then I'm going to take it. Some of you may disagree. That's okay. That's the great part about being in the conservative movement is we all don't have to agree on everything. But there's a real debate about this. That's why I want to play this clip. This is Bill Maher and Stephen A. Smith. These guys are not our friends at all, okay? Let's not like put them on a pedestal. But they do have audiences. And I want you to watch what happens when belatedly people start to come around, just so you see it, and realize they've been lied to by the media the whole time. This one's not about COVID. This one's about Donald Trump being a racist, fascist, Nazi. I want you to watch what happens when they start to realize on camera for the first time, like, hey, maybe I was lied to the whole time. If you've been listening to this show, however, what Stephen A. Smith says here, I told you a long time ago. I'll tell you the story. You'll remember it in a second, but watch this.
But I've told this on many occasions. I said this in my recent appearance on The View and stuff like that. Trump and I were friendly. Right. Before he ran for president. He used to have these boxing matches, particularly during the Tyson fights at the Trump casinos. He would be at the Knicks games and stuff like that. And if we're being totally honest, all the brothers found him to be cool. Right. They found him to be very cool. So let's be clear, because he knew his sports, all right? He would say what he feel. Right. He bucked the establishment, which we loved, and we gravitated to that. And obviously he was a billionaire.
And also he was a certain age.
And it was cool.
Get a certain,
it was cool.
Do you remember me telling you this? Do you remember a couple of years ago, folks in the chat, put a Y if you remember that a friend, I'll tell you who it was now, okay? Because it's, it's he doesn't care if I tell you anyway, but the CEO of Rumble, who is obviously a good friend, Chris Pavlovsky, a huge believer in free speech. He was at a UFC event, and I told you the story. I've never told you the names. And he was talking to a bunch of very, very wealthy, smart black businessmen. Some were entertainers, some were business people, some were in sports. And one of them said to Chris, it's like 3 years ago, maybe more. One of them said to Chris, man, you're going to be shocked in the next election how many black men vote for Donald Trump. And he said to Chris, and I quote, yeah, a lot of them call him Uncle Trump. I never heard that, but I don't need to hear it. I told you this story 3 years ago. Again, it's not some Stygian witches moment. Give me the eye. It's not like I was trying to be a fortune teller. I was just passing on what someone said. But then Chris told me that the more meetings he had with black and Hispanic businessmen and others trying to come on to Rumble and do business, he said the same sentiment kept coming up. If you listen to the show, you were way ahead of it. And it's not because of any kind of, again, Professor X genius we had. All we did was listen. Stephen A. could have listened too. Alec Baldwin and Sharon Stone aren't listening. They're still in their Truman Show bubble. Folks, yesterday, speaking of this, the connecting points between race, the media, being lied to, and the bubble they live in, Catherine Herridge, who is an amazing reporter, she has a channel on X, Twitter, and she's probably one of the best reporters, if not the best investigative reporter out there. She dropped a nuke yesterday. And I'm going to tell you something. After you hear this snippet of her story, and it's on X if you want to see the whole thing, about what she found in the Hunter Biden. No. This is different. This has nothing to do with drugs and international business dealings. This is different because the media is obsessed with the race topic. You're going to see why this matters in a second. Stay tuned. I got a whole lot more to get to. And I want a big thank you, by the way, to another podcaster out there who had a lot of nice things to say about the show and the Army out there, and we appreciate it. Thank you, Bongino Army. Hey, for those of us holding our breath for the past several months, inhale, exhale. Work can finally be done on the big issues, okay? What's one of the biggest? The red menace. What is that? It is the national debt, the red ink piling up. It's a house of cards. It can't be quickly dismantled. So the strategy remains the same. Do what I do. Diversify your savings. I buy gold from Birch Gold, BIRCH. So many things are out of our control. The president's control. It's important to have a safe haven for your assets and your savings. Protect them. Birch Gold Group, the company I use, will help you convert an IRA or 401k into an IRA in physical gold. And the best news, doesn't cost you a penny out of pocket. Text Dan to 989898. Get your free info kit. Plus, right now through Black Friday, you'll receive a free 1-ounce Silver Eagle for every $5,000 purchased. Help protect your savings with Birch Gold. Text Dan to 989898. Claim your eligibility for free silver today. Message and data rates apply. And our last spot, today's show brought to you by Byrna. Do you have a Byrna? Listen, we all hope we never have to defend our lives or the lives of our families. You don't want to be in that situation, but sometimes a firearm isn't the only answer. That's where Byrna comes in with their non-lethal firearms and accessories. Right now, Byrna's having their biggest sale of the year for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. You can get 15% off site-wide until December 2nd. It's a perfect time to stock up for the holidays. Byrna's launchers are a great alternative to deadly force. They fire powerful deterrents like tear gas and kinetic rounds. They can incapacitate someone for up to 40 minutes from 60 feet away. Police departments around the country are using Byrna instead of tasers because it works really well. Do yourself and your family a favor and check it out. Made in America, legal in all 50 states, no background checks needed, and shipped right to your door. Visit Byrna.com/Dan now through December 2nd and get 15% off site-wide. Act fast. The offer won't last long. That's BYRNA, Byrna.com/Dan to get 15% off site-wide now through December 2nd. Try it out. Protect yourself and your loved ones with Byrna today. Thanks, Byrna. We appreciate it. I want you to watch this. This blew up yesterday on X. Here's Catherine Herridge on what she found in the Hunter Biden emails. Folks, it involves some pretty heavy racist kind of language. And apparently the media knew about this and the whole Hunter Biden episode and squashed it. That's pretty amazing because they were so busy calling you guys morons and racists while they may have had some evidence of the contrary. Someone else. Check this out.
Once we got the laptop story on the morning news, I felt that there was so much there that we could still do. For example, in the text messages, there's unfortunately the use of the N-word, the liberal use of the N-word. And I thought this was worthy of a story, but I was told that it was not something that interested CBS News. Then I asked for a forensic review of the laptop, and we found that there were more than half a dozen emails that were likely used by Joe Biden. I thought that was a story. But the answer that came back was, well, we need to know what the content is of the emails. But that was going to be a years-long process. So there was no way. So there were a lot of reasons I was told not to do it, not to pursue it.
Folks, they tried to squash this story. And I want you to remember when we go back to the beginning of the show, the Sharon Stones, the Alec Baldwins, the Democrats on CNN and MSNBC, the Nicole Wallaces of the world, the Rachel Maddows, telling you you're the uneducated buffoons. That it was the, quote, educated people that told you to put a face diaper on your face, to stick an untested vaccine in your arm, that it was going to stop the prevention of COVID, that the Hunter Biden laptop was a product of Russian disinformation, that there's a PP tape of Donald Trump. These are the educated people. I got to tell you, man, it's the holidays. I've been in a particularly good mood this week. It's, feels just like we've done so much this year. I'm still, I don't know about you guys, but I'm still floating since Election Day. I don't know if that sounds weird or it just felt like this weight off my shoulder, like we've been let out of prison. And you know what feels even better? That we were right and that we've been vindicated. That in an election, the majority of voters sided with us. I usually don't play stuff like this, but I really appreciate this. This is, do you guys know Jimmy Dore? Jimmy Dore is a very, very popular content creator. You've probably seen him. He was on Tucker Carlson's show on Fox a lot. Funny guy, does a pretty great job. He's not a conservative guy, but again, that doesn't matter to me. All I really care about is the truth. I'm not really interested in if you're interested in the truth and you want to debate, like we had Cenk on the show, I'm happy to do it. I thought it was a more than respectful thing. But this was really nice for him to say. He gave us kind of a shout out in the show, and this kind of stuff doesn't happen often. There's a lot of jealousy and hatred in this business. We choose not to partake in it. It's very nice for people to recognize it. So, given it's Thanksgiving, I want to thank Jimmy Dore for this. Here, check this out.
Yeah, you got Tucker Carlson, you got Joe Rogan, you got the Gray Zone, you got you guys, you got. I'm just talking about people that are actually have an anti-establishment narrative. I'm not talking about the Young Turks or the David Pacmans or the MSNBC contract people. I'm talking about people who actually have an anti-establishment narrative and who don't back a particular political party. You got Tucker Carlson's, you got, I know you guys are hard on Russell Brand. I still think he does great segments. I watch his show all the time. You got Glenn Greenwald. I mean, I can't stop watching his show. His show and your show are my two favorites. And then there's guys I don't watch who are even bigger, like that Dan Bongino guy. Like,
that guy's really big. Yeah,
that guy destroys.
He's mainly on Rumble, right?
Yeah,
only on
The
Rumble.
show
Yeah.
mainly on Rumble. Yeah.
and he's. I mean, I have to admit, I never watch his show, but I see his numbers, and it blows my mind, right? So, and I'm sure he has the anti-Russiagate narrative. I'm sure he told the truth about January 6th. I don't know where he was on COVID, but I'm sure he was in establishment. I'm sure on Ukraine, I'm sure he's telling the. It's just so. Yeah.
That's really awesome, man. Thank you. And I just want you to know, here's what's the interesting part about that segment. So it's not a me thing. He doesn't watch the show. How do we know that? Because he said it. But he was right about every single thing. We were ahead of the Spygate story. We wrote a book called Spygate. We were years ahead of them spying on Donald Trump. On Ukraine, who was the one who put out the segment with the biolabs where we put out was that Newland, Victoria Newland on there? We put that whole segment up about Ukraine. And then there's a whole chapter in one of my books called Insane in Ukraine, talking about Soros and the FBI in Ukraine and what they were up to and the Ukrainian role in the Spygate thing. Again, that doesn't mean like they deserve what happened, but yeah, we were way ahead of that. The COVID stuff. A lot of people talked a lot of shit during COVID. Really? How come they're still on YouTube then? I'm not. I was kicked off. Here, put it up again. Why? Because I challenged the COVID narrative early and you guys were with me. So thank you for standing with me on all this stuff. And, it's fine. I don't knock other people. You do your thing, but we suffered for it. We lost 800,000 subscribers on YouTube. It turned out to be the greatest thing that ever happened. But folks, it was real. And I'm really proud to have stood in the face of the hack media when it was easy to just go along to get along, especially during COVID, and say, no, we're not doing that. And I don't care if you ban us. We're going to find some other way to do it. My wife and I really struggled, man. We were like, how do we buy servers and run our own video? And we thought, and then thankfully I met Chris from Rumble and he's like, hey, I got a platform for you. I mean, that's how the whole thing started. You can almost rest assured these days, this is how sad it is, by the way, with the left-wing hack media, that whatever they tell you, if you were a betting man with a gun to your head, forced to make a really poor choice, right? If the hack media tells you something, you are almost guaranteed that the opposite story is true. I want you to watch what happens in this CNN segment. This guy, I like this guy, this Sir Michael Singleton. This guy's got a set on him. This is the guy who got into it with the guy about the trans issue. We played that clip the other day. Here he is talking about exactly that. When the hack media tells you what matters, like Donald Trump's a fascist, this should matter to you, that you should probably believe that it doesn't matter and the hack media wants you to believe it matters because they have an agenda. Watch the panel go silent while he says exactly that. Check this out.
For months and months, even on this network, we talked about this stuff over and over and over ad nauseum, and it didn't move the needle. Joe Biden tried, it didn't work. The vice president tried, it didn't work. And if you believe Harry Enton's commentary earlier today on our network, Donald Trump's approval right now is up, 18 points, I believe? Despite all of these things, I remember data and a litany of articles from the Washington Post and the New York Times about how this matters and all the polling data that suggested voters were so concerned about all of these issues, and yet Donald Trump improved his margins from 2020, including among demographics that not a single Republican have done well with since Richard Nixon. And I don't think you can dismiss any of those things. I mean, if I'm being, blunt, Laura, I don't think the average American person cares about these things when compared to other issues that really impact their day-to-day lives.
Listen, man, I got to tell you, I did a live show today because I wanted to, because we have, tomorrow we have off, just so you know the schedule. I'm live on the radio today, so if you want to watch on Rumble, you can just watch on the Rumble channel where we multi-stream the radio show to Rumble. Just so you know, by the way, I get a lot of questions about this. I'm sorry to wear you guys out, but the first 2 hours of the radio show are free. The last hour is only for local subscribers. It's a long story, but if you want to watch the 3 hours of radio and the interviews, subscribe to locals. You can do it right at the top of the page right here at Rumble. There's a red button. It's up to you. Totally, completely your call. I obviously don't push it too much. Some of you, it's the first time you're hearing it. But we do a lot. And I was debating doing a live show today because I wasn't sure you were interested. And I got to tell you, I thought we're probably not even going to crack 100,000 people. People are on the road traveling, and we're ready to crack 140,000. So thank you so much. It really, it's Thanksgiving again tomorrow, and I want you to know how much you guys mean to me. I know what everybody's doing. I see you all out there. I see you all fighting the fight with me, and it means the world to me. All right, back to the show. I don't want to get emotional here. We have a special Geraldo thing coming tomorrow, by the way. These guys put together where I have some commentary on it. Don't miss it. Especially the McGroin crew. This is right up your alley. It's the Geraldo highlights for me and him with some additional commentary about what really happened. Folks, I miss these days. I am so happy that this transition is going to come to a conclusion in January, and Donald Trump is going to raise his right hand and swear on the Bible and not be the president-elect, but be the president again. Why? I miss the days of truth and honesty. We were way out ahead of this. You guys were for Trump before it was cool to be for Trump. I'm so happy to be part of it. You remember this at the White House? Jim Acosta. The only reason I bring this up is Caitlin Collins, who was the movie critic for the Daily Caller a while ago, now finds herself magically in primetime at CNN, is going to be the White House correspondent. So you can expect more stupidity in the briefing room. Now that the immigration issue is getting hot again, I want you to remember all the bullshit that happened when Trump was in office. Here's a clip of Jim Acosta, who thought Trump made up the border crisis. There's no accountability for any of this at all, by the way. Here it is. Watch this. Acosta pretending the border crisis is a Trump fabrication. Check this out.
Jim Acosta. Thank you, Mr. President. I wonder if you could comment on this disconnect that we seem to have in this country, where you are presenting information about what's happening at the border, calling it an invasion, talking about women with duct tape over their mouths and so on. And yet there's a lot of reporting out there. There's a lot of crime data out there. There's a lot of Department of Homeland Security data out there that shows border crossings at a near record low. Undocumented criminals or undocumented immigrants committing crime at lower levels than native-born Americans. What do you say to you don't really believe that stat? Do you really believe that stat? Take a look at our federal prisons. I believe in facts and statistics and data. Any more quick? Let's go. But let me just ask you this. What do you say to your critics who say that you are creating a national emergency, that you're concocting a national emergency here in order to get your wall because you couldn't get it through other ways? What do you think? Do you think I'm creating something? Ask these incredible women who lost their daughters and their sons. This is real. Okay? Because your question is a very political question, because you have an agenda. You're CNN. You're fake news. You have an agenda.
Oh, I missed that. I cannot wait for the days of this again. Him exposing the fake news losers. Let me ask you a question. Have they been right about anything? How many of these topics have we covered even in the last 45 minutes on this show? They were wrong on COVID. They were wrong on the border. They were wrong on the biolabs in Ukraine. They were wrong on Ukraine in general. They were wrong about Hamas. They were wrong about the economy. They were wrong about the border. They were wrong about inflation, calling it transitory. They were wrong about masks. They were wrong about vaccines. They were wrong about Spygate. They were wrong about collusion. Have these idiots been right about anything? This is why the transition's been great, because Trump has appointed a lot of door kickers. We saw Bhattacharya in there, the Barrington Declaration, that's on the COVID front, but on the border front, I can't think of a better guy than newly appointed, soon to be sworn in once we take over the White House, Tom Homan as border czar. Here's Tom Homan on Fox with Greg Abbott talking about what's going to happen if you're going to be one of these liberal communists who's going to break the law and harbor illegals in your cities. This is a great clip. Check this out.
Tom, you heard this mayor out there in Colorado. I want to get your reaction to it, and I want you to be clear about who has jurisdiction, the federal government or state and local governments. And if you're a sanctuary state or city, are you breaking the law?
You're absolutely breaking law. All you have to do is look at Arizona versus U.S. You'll see these breaking the law. But look, me and the Denver mayor, we agree on one thing. He's willing to go to jail. I'm willing to put him in jail. Because there's a statute. It's Title 8 United States Code 1324 III. And what it says is, it's a felony if you knowingly harbor and conceal an illegal alien from immigration authorities.
Yes. Yes. We need more of that. I want every single person put in a position of authority in the Trump cabinet and these Trump secondary kind of sub-cabinet and important bureaucratic positions to be thinking the exact same thing. Cutesy time is what? Folks in the chat, freaking over. It was over a long time ago. We had to deal with this shit for the last 3.5 years. Once he swears in, it is the official, the gavel is down, end of cutesy time.
Cutesy time is over.
Thank you, Jake. Can we do that one more time? I'm just got to be my new favorite.
Cutesy time is over.
Thank you. It's over. By the way, did you see this last night? Do you realize the train wreck we avoided with Kamala Harris? Kamala Harris made her first kind of digital appearance yesterday, giving an interview. This is real. It's not AI. Did you guys catch this? I think we should VO this because exposing these people as this like a sot, I think is a horrible idea. I think some of them may pass out and die just from like the loss of neurons. I'm watching them on the screen. This is real. Kamala Harris does a donor call last night because the Democrat National Committee is broke and they need millions of dollars to pay off a bunch of vendors they screwed over. Kamala does this call last night, and folks, I'm not sure what she was doing before this call, but this, you want to talk about a broken human being. She looks worse than Hillary Clinton after 2016. I'm not talking about appearance. I'm talking about a person who realizes her political career is not only done, but she's going to be a laughing stock from this point on. I don't know what happened in this. Play some of this. This was a total mess. Listen to this.
The election didn't turn out like we wanted it to. Certainly not as we planned for it to. But understand that the work we put into it was about empowering people. That's the spirit with the work we did. Our spirit and our work was about saying that it is a strength that we each have to lift people up. And I know that about you. It's why you're part of this call right now and all the work that you did over those 107 days.
Give us some money
and
to
even
pay off
before.
these vendors we screwed.
That's your nature.
It's your nature.
It's leaders that we are dedicated to the coalition.
The coalition.
That the strength of our country will be a function of our willingness to put in the work.
Did she say about don't let them take your power?
And that we will do that work with a sense of joy, yes. With a sense of work ethic and understanding it's going to be hard, but it's good work. It's good work.
Happy, happy, joy, joy, joy. What was that? Dude, wait. Yeah. Happy, happy, joy, joy. Happy, happy, joy, joy. Happy, happy, joy, joy, joy. Happy, happy, joy, joy. Happy, happy, joy, joy. What just happened there? I'm not speculating. I care not to. Maybe she had a good time the night before. I don't know. I just don't know what the hell happened there. You want to see the best diagnosis of what went wrong with this disastrous train wreck of a campaign? I should have played this in the beginning. Let me tell you in advance, I know this guy, not personally, but the guy you're about to hear, I know from Florida politics. His name is John Morgan. Huge Democrat. He donates to everyone. His commercials are, if you live in Florida, Michael, have you seen these yet? Morgan and Morgan. Like, this guy's a big deal in Democrat politics. Huge deal. He's on with Chris Cuomo, who obviously comes from a Democrat legacy family. Mario Cuomo, his dad, Andrew, his brother, the governor of New York, right? He's on Chris Cuomo's show. And he's talking about the Kamala Harris campaign and how the whole thing was a big AstroTurf scam. Sounds like something we told you, that this was all a money-making scam. They never had a chance to win. This is a Democrat. This guy is not a Republican. Look him up. Huge mega donor. Watch about a minute of this and you'll see why that campaign was a total scam and you should be asking for a refund on the left. Check this out.
And the money started pouring in. Remember this, Chris. It wasn't pouring in for Harris. It was pouring in against Trump. Everybody that was voting and supporting Harris was really voting against Trump. And everybody that was voting for Trump was voting for Trump. So she had all this money coming in. She had all these consultants. And if you don't run the ads, you don't get paid for the buy. They were running ads in Florida where I live nonstop. And I'm like, why? I mean, are they running them in Alabama and Idaho too? And I'll tell you why. If you don't run the ads, the buyer doesn't get paid. A $900,000 to put her face on the Sphere in Las Vegas. In the Sphere, the ego, the crazy, the commissions. I was at the White House for a dinner Friday night, talking to a lot of people. And I'm telling you, man, there's a lot of whispering. There's a lot of names about who got paid this and who got paid that. And a lot of people got rich on the back of donors trying to stop Trump. And I think this disqualifies her forever.
Folks, when you've run for office, and that's what I did. I ran in a blue state as a Republican. You know, you get your ass kicked over there. Everybody's afraid to get anywhere near you because they're afraid the Democrats in power, are going to ice them out. It's tough to run in a deep blue state. I've seen this up front, up close and personal. They will tell you to do things that are not in the interest of the movement or the campaign just so they can get a cut of the ad spend. That's all this was. The Kamala Harris campaign never had a shot. Did you see Pluff and the internals, and that was it, Stephanie Cutter and others, slowly coming around and starting to leak out the idea that the internal polling was never good? Man, again, I just don't want you to waste your time here. Go back and listen to the shows. We told you that. They were never ahead. This was all bullshit. The whole thing was AstroTurf. There was no pro-Kamala crowd. It was only an anti-Trump crowd. That was it. That was the whole thing. I want to leave you with this clip today because this is kind of a national security thing, and that's one of my big interests is keeping Donald Trump safe. Folks, there's a lot of chatter again about me and stuff. Ignore that stuff. That stuff is all media crap. I'm telling you, it's all fake news. However, I've said before, I am more than happy to give subject matter expertise about keeping Donald Trump alive. Donald Trump's life is in danger, there's no doubt about it. There's a very significant threat against him. And anyone on the inside with a couple beers in him will tell you that without giving you the specs, right? His life's in real danger. One of the things that freaks me out the most is an airborne attack via drone. Folks, it is really, really hard to stop. And there's a very simple reason. Humans can't fly. You can't just go in. You can address a target on the ground. It may not be comfortable to do it, but you can do it. You can go hand to hand. You can go knife to knife. You can go gun to gun. But you can address it because you're both subject to this thing called gravity. We don't fly. There is nothing you can do about a target in the air if you don't have some kind of device to help you. You can't reach out and touch it. It's not complicated. When you look inside the bubble, my first book was called Life Inside the Bubble. It's a 360-degree bubble around the president. The most difficult thing to do is to secure the airspace. And drones, I'm telling you, if they're ever going to get us, drones are going to be the way they do it. Are they going to drop something? Are they going to swarm? And we better get ahead of it. Here's a fascinating minute-long segment on Joe Rogan's podcast. It's a great show where the guest discusses the threat of drones and why China is way, way ahead of the U.S. on drones. This stuff freaks me out. Watch this.
The FAA killed the drone industry years ago. The reason why the Chinese are winning in the drone wars is because the FAA basically made drones illegal in the U.S. Years ago. So like the FAA has been a big problem. Also the FAA.
When you say made drones illegal, but you can still buy drones. Like what have they done?
So legally, you cannot fly a drone in the U.S. That is beyond line of sight if you don't have a pilot's license.
Wow.
Which means if you're a U.S. drone manufacturer, you have to build a system that enforces that regulation.
So
but if you're a
have
Chinese,
to handicap your ability.
Yes. So either the U.S. drone needs to either not fly beyond line of sight, which is not very useful, right?
Right.
Or it needs to somehow validate. It only have customers that have pilot's licenses. China, there's no such restriction.
Right.
And the Chinese, because we run a more open economy, the Chinese drones you can just buy in the U.S. and use however you want. Technically, as the user of the drone, you're out of compliance with the law, but they ignore that part. They just punish the American drone makers.
Wow.
And that's why Chinese own the drone market, and that's why 90% of the drones used by the U.S. military and by U.S. police are Chinese-made drones. Which, again...
That sounds like a terrible security risk.
Is a very bad idea because every Chinese drone is both a potential surveillance platform and a potential weapon.
Oh, criminy.
Yes.
I believe that's Mark Andreessen, but that is a really powerful segment. We can't afford to lose the tactical advantage in drone technology. Once you implement AI and incredibly fast computer chips inside of these drones... I saw a couple of people, a shotgun might work against one or two. But remember, those things come down too. Not just the drone,